There aren't many things that are worse than going on a bad date. If you have any stories, I want to hear it. These dates are so horrible, you could not pay me to go on them. First story is titled Twinkle Toes. I pray to God this is not a story about feet. Maybe we skip this one. So I went on a first date with a guy at a really nice restaurant. And by nice restaurant, I mean people are celebrating anniversaries and promotions, maybe even proposing. I show up in a dress and heels. He shows up looking like he just got cut from a recreational softball team. He was wearing faded jeans, grass-stained New Balances, and an ice hockey t-shirt. Not even a, I just came from work, more like I just lost a fight with my lawnmower in the I've got to mow my lawn 3,000 times. So I'm thinking, okay, don't judge. Maybe he's funny, charming, or doing the Steve Jobs thing. Nope. The minute we walk in, I realize this man has one volume setting, high school PA system blasting morning announcements and daily lunches. People are watching and making faces when his comments are inappropriate. Everyone waiting for a table knew it was my first date since he broadcasted it. So we get seated and everyone else is having normal conversations. How was your day? The salmon is excellent. Meanwhile, my date's over here yelling, "What the F?" at a volume normally reserved for emergency situations. The woman at the table next to us is having dinner with her family. She looks at me, not him, me, with those judging mom eyes. I'm mortified. Her teenage son starts laughing. She and I make eye contact and I just shrug. The teenage son looks at his mom and says, "It's not her fault. Remember he said it's a first date?" So now I'm embarrassed, but at least they know. She starts laughing and so do I. My date thinks I'm laughing at his story, but it's that nervous brain, that abandoned ship laughter, and I'm not finding him funny. Then he remembers that I'm allergic to seafood, and I'm thinking, okay, he's being thoughtful. Right before, he says, "I'm ordering a cheesesteak because I want to kiss you later." Like, sir, we are still in the appetizer phase. You've skipped 6 chapters ahead. At least he wasn't getting seafood, I guess. Dinner arrives, he gets his cheesesteak with fries, and this is where things take a turn. He grabs a ketchup bottle and squeezes out an amount equivalent to the size of a softball. Not a dipping amount, a softball. Then he takes a giant handful of fries and claws them through the ketchup with all 5 fingers, dragging them across the plate. It felt like a baby playing with any wet substance and Gollum protecting the ring. No one was trying to steal the fries or the ketchup, and his fingers are completely coated in ketchup under the nails, knuckles, everything. Now I'm just wondering if this fancy restaurant has wet naps. The waitress comes back to check in as normal and he starts arguing with her about beer. Not because it's warm or flat, rather, quote, "I want my beer to taste like beer, not wheat," which is interesting considering he ordered the wheat beer. The waitress has this look on her face like she's considering a different career path entirely at this point. Hours have gone by and the restaurant is nearly empty. At this point, there are only about 5 people left in the restaurant, and I'm pretty sure the other 3 are rooting for me. My date continues talking. He's loudly exclaiming how attractive it was that I didn't mind waiting for a table earlier in the evening. The 3 men at the only other remaining table are paying attention, while I'm thinking, sir, I have been here long enough to qualify as furniture, before he finally walks me to my car. The 3 men head to their cars as well. I'm thinking I've survived. This date is over. Wrong. Standing in the dark, wet parking lot, this man starts telling me about a guy who was imprisoned for, for committing SA, I will say. Yeah, that's how I can sum up that sentence. But he's not just telling me, he's acting it out. Full on pelvic thrusts, like this is somehow an appropriate first date topic. Now, I just want to know if there's a survey after, because I have notes. I have finally convinced my date that we should just get in our cars and leave, and I'm freezing and I'm just over it. He tried to go in for the kiss, which I turned my cheek for. A little dodge moment. And just when I'm thinking it can't get any worse, he turns back to me and says, we should go jet skiing for a second date because jet skiing always leads to sex. Does it? Why? Like he's collected enough data to feel statistically confident in that statement. And then he adds, last time it led to sex in my truck. After that comment, I stopped listening, but I noticed something. The three men from the restaurant were sitting there just watching us. At first I thought it was creepy. Ultimately, I was glad there were witnesses. I bet they caught on and they just wanted to make sure you were safe. See, there's good people in this world still. Finally, he started walking to his car as I'm getting into mine. In the short time between my door opening and me sitting down, he must have decided the night needed a post-dinner musical number. He started skipping through the parking lot, arms out wide as he... I am just picturing this in my head as I'm reading it. Arms out wide as he skipped and screamed singing, so long, farewell at me. So long, farewell to you and you and you. Adieu. Sound of Music? Anyone? Hell, I might go on a second date. His voice carried through the parking lot with no thought or fear of public humiliation. He stops singing once he makes it to his truck and he shouts across the parking lot to me, "This was the best first date," which honestly answered a lot of questions. Twinkle Toes and I experienced two completely different dates. He finally gets in his truck and drives off before the three men from the other table follow him. I'm seated in my locked car, thankful those men stayed, and contemplated if this is my real life and thinking the hills are alive with the sound of red flags. And I can't help but laugh at the thought of the three men getting a dinner theater production that they were not expecting. And somewhere out there, Twinkle Toes is still confident that jet skiing leads to sex. I am happy that this wasn't a story about like toes and feet and some kind, like, you know, he like had his bare feet out at the table or, you know? I really thought it was gonna be a foot story. Not that this was much better, to be honest. Next story. I matched with someone who I believe tried to scam me. Hi, I'm a 20-year-old male. For context, I am gay and I've been single all my life. Recently, I've been feeling lonely as I've been alone for so long, so I decided to download a gay dating app named Surge. I matched with this person this morning and we were getting to know each other. I thought it was going great. He then asked me if I had a Telegram so we could communicate better. I didn't think anything of it and I said I had it and I added him on it. When we started chatting, that's where things got weird. He asked me about previous things that he asked in the dating app, like he forgot, which was weird. Also, the way he sent things made me realize that he was not someone who knew English, as a lot of things were not really spelled correctly or were not worded correctly. He also, after every message I sent, introduced him to me, and other messages I sent, all he would respond with was, "That's great." Then randomly, they started calling me babe like we were dating. We met online 2 hours beforehand, but he also said things that were off to me, and I didn't know if they were true or not. He said he was enlisted, which I thought was a little bit of a weird way of saying that he was in the army. He then said that he was in Costa Rica for a promotion and he would spend time with me afterwards. He then said that they were not allowed to take pictures or call or FaceTime there, or when they got back to the US, they would face 2 months of jail time. Oh, you're getting catfished. This is straight up an episode of Catfish. If you haven't seen the show, you should watch it. You can find it online. Paramount Plus or MTV, I forget. It's MTV, but it might be on Paramount Plus. Now, this struck me as weird, but I knew nothing of the army, so I didn't know if it was real or not. He then started bringing up that he was boarded and wanted me to get this game and asked me to get it for him. I told him sorry, but I don't have the money. I haven't had a job since last May, and I have been looking one for a year. Luckily, I found one and I start this Thursday. He was then like, "But you went to the store," and then I explained to him that my dad let me use his card so I could buy myself lunch. Then he was like, "Use your dad's card to get me my game. I told him I couldn't because I would not steal from my dad and that I wouldn't steal from anyone. At this point, something was clicking in my head that something was not right, as I had just met this person a couple hours ago. He then continuously tried to get me to give him a $20 Apple gift card and said the game he wanted was PES, Pro Evolution Soccer, which I found weird as it was a console game, so you wouldn't need an Apple gift card for it. Then he mentioned he already had it and now he wanted to upgrade it. Imagine asking this of anyone a few hours after meeting them. No. Now, something to know is that I'm a gamer, so I know that all games are free to update. I don't know that. After he said upgrade, I asked if he meant update. He then said yes. Then I texted him that he knows the updates are free. He then said he knew what he was talking about and that he wanted me to gift him the gift card. Now, earlier in the conversation, when he brought this up, I told him I had no money as I was broke and that I was paying monthly debt payments as a payment plan to my state revenue department. He then said he would help me pay it once he got back with his promotion bonus of $600,000. This is where it started to click that it was a scam, as what bonus would give someone over $500,000? Now back to where he kept trying to convince me to give him the Apple gift card. At this point, I was sick and tired, so I just called my friends for advice. They told me it sounded like a scam, and if it wasn't, this guy is still a walking red flag. Do you think it was a scam? I did block him as I felt either option was not good. I don't have any screenshots for proof as he disappeared from the dating app and Telegram. Yeah, I mean, a scam. He just wanted your money. Absolutely. Also, the credit card thing. Yeah, absolutely not. It makes me sad because you're only 20 years old and you've been single this whole time, so you haven't had a first relationship and you're doing it in the online world, which is already difficult enough. I'm happy you picked up on the red flags and you blocked him and you walked away. Truly, because there's about 8 seasons or something of Catfish where a lot of people don't, and they fall for the scam. Next story, I don't go on dates, but when I finally did, it went wrong. Guys, the one time in my life before Matt, when I was single for a year or whatever, I downloaded Bumble. I've never been on a dating app before, and I've told you guys before, I got stood up on the date. I was ready to go, dressed, ready, excited, stood up. So I deleted the app and never did that ever again.
No, thank you.
I don't post on Reddit, but I felt like saying something considering this was my first date ever, supposedly. I'm 23, but I haven't been on dates. This year I decided to finally meet people and go on dates for the experience. I met this guy on a dating app and he was around my city, so I decided to give it a shot. We talked a few times, but I can really feel from the get-go the conversation really wasn't that interesting. It was usually the majority of us talking about meeting up, which was his idea all along. He wanted us to meet, but he let me choose the day, which it was. I already told him my preferences beforehand, such as how I'm only free on weekends. I'm more comfortable meeting up in the city, me not going out late on Sundays because I have work early in the morning. So I set a date and it was Sunday. I asked him where because maybe he has plans because it was his idea all along. He suggested a cafe and I said, I'm down. He didn't say the time, so I asked him about it, which he told me to choose what time. So I chose 3 p.m., which was more convenient to me, and he agreed to it, so it was all set. Sunday came and I got a text from him saying if it's okay to move it to 5 p.m. because he just arrived at his place. From work, I think, and he did text me this at 3 a.m. My first reaction was, huh? Because I don't like changing my plans on the spot, but I agreed to it anyways. More time for me to prepare. Hours later, he sent me a text saying where he will pick me up. I didn't know he was picking me up. I just said a place not near mine because I'm not comfortable letting him know where I live yet, and he agreed to it. Smart. That's what I like to see. Taking precaution, trusting no one.
Smart.
Fast forward, I was finishing getting ready and I headed out as soon as he said that he was coming. Turns out he arrived earlier to our meetup place and I told him just to wait there because I was gonna book a motorcycle ride to get there. He stopped me and said to tell my location because he'll just go to me and pick me up instead because he said it was cringe to wait there. I agreed and I sent him my location. At this point I wasn't at my house anymore, just outside the subdivision where I lived. thank God. I waited for him to arrive. When he arrived, I went out and he offered his hand, which I held softly without too much eye contact because I'm awkward at holding eye contact, and he gave me his extra motorcycle helmet. Oh, we're riding a motorcycle with a stranger? Oh, what a Lizzie McGuire movie moment. You know, if you know, you know. I've ridden a lot of motorcycles with a helmet on, but this was the first time I wore a helmet so tight that I needed to take off my glasses. Then we went on the road. As we were en route, he kept having a conversation, and mind you, I can barely hear anything. Because number one, the road is noisy and windy, and number two, the helmet was so tight, but I tried my best to respond, even though there were times where I just had to say, I can't hear you, and I asked him to clarify. In between our conversation, I can notice how some of the things we talked about made him act differently. It was only just a few minutes, but then he asked me what time I planned to go home. I said 8 p.m. or even 7 p.m. He was driving, but I noticed he acted differently, like he was uncomfortable. He kept shaking his head and he kept reaching for his phone, and this was the time he started to take stops to try and talk to me. I was honestly so confused and I could barely hear anything when he suddenly said, I don't like this anymore. Mind you, it was just a couple minutes still before we first met up. So at this time, I'm like, huh? He kept saying he didn't like it anymore because of how I was treating him. So he said he'll just drive me back home because we're running out of time, because I had said that I'd go home at 7 or 8 p.m. and it was still 5 p.m. at this time. But still, I reassured him, let's just continue to go on with what we planned. So he continued driving off, but somewhere along the lines between our not so clear conversation while riding the motorcycle, his demeanor changed again and I could feel it. He stopped at this warehouse and he told me again, I don't like this anymore. And I asked him why, and he said he doesn't like how I treated him. I said, I just told you I can't hear you well. Why are you acting like this? It was honestly a very confusing situation for me because, like, how did a few minutes of riding on the motorcycle end up with me disrespecting you when I'm just trying to reply to you? He kept insisting how he doesn't want to go to the cafe anymore and that he would take me back home, or he would just book me a motorcycle because we're out of time. I was like, this was your plan all along, and you're the one who changed the time to a later time. He said he didn't even want to go to the cafe because he doesn't drink coffee, and that he always wanted this idea of going to the mountains. I feel some red flags creeping up for me. He keeps saying, I don't like this anymore. Well, I don't like this anymore.
No, don't like that.
He then proposed to me to just stay at his place for a movie and order food or what, which I said no because this wasn't even our plan, and going to his place on a first date is a no for me. The whole situation got me so upset because I kept reassuring beforehand about our plans and it was all set. Him changing his mind made me so upset that I didn't think to stay any longer, so I just got off his motorcycle. I returned his helmet and I stood a few steps from him on the corner and I booked a ride because I cannot handle this anymore. As I was standing there, I could see him still waiting, but he's facing away from me. A few minutes after he drove off, he basically left me on the side of the road, but I could care less, honestly, because I just booked a ride. I have never felt more disrespected in my life, and that's what I'm struggling with the most right now. I couldn't even consider it a date because we were just on the road going to the place. Edit. I messaged him after how he was so disrespectful, and his excuse was that he didn't get enough sleep and it was just his first time meeting me. But all that doesn't excuse behavior towards me, honestly, because it was my first time too, but I still tried to make it work. He just didn't want to, and he didn't even try. I truly don't understand it. He didn't want to go to a cafe because he doesn't like coffee. He picked the cafe. He didn't think there was enough time, but he changed the time to 5 p.m. But he has time to go back to his place. I don't know. Red flags all around. You know what? At least you didn't get stood up like me. Although after this, you probably wish you did. What a waste of time. You know the drill. It's Hydration Station. I hope you're having a good day out there. Cheers. Drink your water today. You need it. To update you guys, I decided to read this book next. I know some of you guys suggested reading the second book of the other series, but this is just a really easy one. So I was like, I just need a little break. The fantasy is a little harder for me to read. big words. I think we all know here that big words are difficult for me. So I'm only a little bit into this one. I already love it so far. I love Colleen Hoover, but stay tuned on my thoughts is what I'm trying to say. Next story, how I fell for a man who wasn't who he said he was, and it unraveled fast. I met my ex during a trip to Mexico. I was just vibing, enjoying life, and through mutual friends, boom, we met. Let's call him Leo. He was charming, super sweet, kind of mysterious, the kind of guy you think might actually be different. Spoiler alert, he wasn't. We went on a date, started talking more, and honestly, I fell for him fast. He opened up about how his dad cheated on his mom and had a whole secret family. He told me that they were in a car accident together and his dad lost an arm while he also lost a finger. Said he was in and out of hospitals for months. It was a lot. And I really felt for him. I believed him because why wouldn't I? Leo was into fitness and started prepping for a competition. Then came the steroids. I started noticing major mood swings like night and day. When I gently brought it up, he gaslit me and said that I was imagining things. Now, here's where it gets weird. He told me he was going to visit me in Toronto for my birthday. Ooh, this story's from someone in Toronto. Said the visa process would take 4 to 5 months. I just recently found out that it takes a month max. At the same time, he was also pushing me to move to Mexico by the end of the year. I said no, and I'm glad I did. At the beginning, we would talk all the time. Call, text, all of that. But then he dropped his original friend group, the ones that I had actually met. He said that they weren't real friends. Suddenly, he only hung out with gym people. That is where everything changed. He started pulling away. He told me that I gave him bad energy, that I was always picking fights. All I wanted was time, basic connection. We ended up limiting calls to 1 hour a week, just one. Then one Friday night, he went to a party. I knew all about it because he had told me, but he didn't text me once, not even a made it home safe message. The next day, he said his phone died and there was a flood, so he had no signal. Meanwhile, his social media stories, he was being surrounded by girls. I called him out and he hit me with, "You're just starting another fight." Then he went ghost for hours. That same weekend, he bought a new car and called it, quote, the happiest day of his life. And here's the kicker. That was the same day I found 2 viral TikTok videos of his ex-girlfriend exposing him. Receipts, screenshots, the entire thing. Turns out he was the one cheating in that relationship and he was not the victim like he had told me. When I sent him the videos and I asked him if it was true, he didn't even care that I was upset. All he wanted to know was, who sent you that? I told him I found it on my own. He shut down and said that he wouldn't talk about it. The next day, he sent me this long essay full of vague excuses. Said the videos were fake, that his family knew the truth, and that's all that mattered. He asked me for space. So I gave it to him. Then the next day, he dumped me. Said I broke his trust because he didn't believe I found the videos myself. Apparently, a Canadian girl couldn't possibly find a Mexican TikTok. But here's where it gets real. I ended up speaking to his old best friends, Valeria and Julian. They told me they saw the video too and that they confronted him. That's why he cut them off. He told them real friends support you no matter what you've done. They also told me he created fake accounts to make it look like he had more clients at his gym than he actually did. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Then I talked to his sister, and guess what? All the stories were fake. He told me that they lived in separate homes, that he bought a house from his grandfather. Nope, they all live in his mom's house. Oh, and the car accident? His dad never got amputated. Oh, and he told me he played piano and went to therapy because he lost a child with his ex. His sister never mentioned that once. The scary part, he never even tried to use me for a visa. He didn't want to come to Canada. He wanted me to move to Mexico and live with him. I'm still in shock with all the layer of lies, the manipulation, the fake victim stories. It's actually terrifying how easy it is to fall for someone who creates their whole life out of fiction. Pathological liars are terrifying because they're so delusional in their lies that they actually start to believe their lies are true and that their fake life is real. I know someone like that. They shall not be named here publicly, but ooh! It's scary how delusional they are. I want to hear about your guys' horrible date. I don't know. These stories are very fascinating to me because it's really easy to have a bad date, you know? Let me know. I'll see you guys in the comments section. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. Bye.